Joel Embiid, Buddy Hield, with a real Buddy Hield show up, and Tyrese Maxey, the most improved player. We'll talk about that and more next on Locked On 76.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get up to $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. Visit FanDuel.com/locked on to get started. Do it today, people. Definitely do it today. Hello, I'm Keith Pompey, and this is my right-hand man, John Mitchell. We are the co-hosts of Locked On 76ers. We thank you for joining. And as I talked about in the intro, we're going to have a lot to talk about. And one is Joel Embiid. Let's talk about him. You know, the eye, as I wrote in this weekend's paper, I talked about it too, about how his eye has also been bothering him. The Sixers are downplaying it, saying everything's cool. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about his play, what he needs to do. But then what about Buddy Hield? You know, Buddy Hield came here. They acquired him. They said that he was the best trade acquisition of the trade deadline. They said he will put the fear in God in people when he plays with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. Now he looks like a dude that's scared to shoot. There's no fear of anything, right? Yeah. And then thirdly, we got to talk about Maxey being the most improved player. The brother has been balling. So,
Tyrese.
Mitch, the eye thing, the sunglasses, the press conference with the head down. I asked Nick Nurse about anything. Everything's okay. He's fine. Well, he didn't look fine. I mean, he didn't look fine the game one. He kept rubbing his eyes, touching his face. He didn't look fine and after the game when he comes and he has his towel on, getting out of the shower and he has sunglasses on. He doesn't look fine. When you don't see, he has like a blank stare on his face at times on the left side. Is the eye a concern to you?
When it comes to Joel at this time of the year, everything is a concern to me. I was wondering about the eye because I did notice, you couldn't miss the shades when he came out with them. And even after game two, which I was glad to hear Joel saying that we're going to guarantee that we beat them. We are the better team in this playoff matchup. But yeah, you could see when he walked off the court during that timeout, rubbing his eye, and I think the eye is clearly bothering him. And the one thing about Joel that when things bother him, it does change his play, and unfortunately these things pop up during the playoffs so frequently with him. But if you go back to game two, taking all those 3-pointers, I never liked Joel taking a bunch of 3-pointers. If he takes 2-3 a game, I can live with it. But he took 3 in the fourth quarter of that Knicks game of game two. And those are kind of just like indications in his play style that all is not well. So hopefully, put some goggles on, whatever he has to do, if that is indeed, if it is an issue, if it becomes an issue, because, Joel's body language has always been the type of language that tells you, yeah, I'm going through something. And I think that energizes opponents. And I think it de-energizes the 76ers. So I'm concerned about it. But But when I'm rolling with him. What he says, we're the better team. And if you rebound, if you fight hard like dogs on the boards, you just may be the better team. And we'll find this all out on Thursday. But I don't want to see anything more crop up. I mean, every time he rebounds, he goes for a rebound, he throws the ball off the rim, off the backboard for a dunk. You're holding your breath. I'm tired of holding my breath. I may need oxygen watching the 76ers in this next game. So it is a concern because when he gets hurt, all this stuff kind of manifests itself in the body language and the mindset and everything.
But my question to you are they really the better team, though?
I think they are. I think the 76ers are a better team. I think that they have, as you know, they did even with Joel dragging, he's limping. Let's stop making the Willis Reed comparison because he's not looking anything like Willis Reed comparison. Just like, the whole flu game for Tyrese Maxey was some complete mythology that y'all came up with over at the Inquirer and Daily News. But I digress. I think they're the better team, Keith. I think if you look at the statistics, they had. If you look at the three best players in the series, obviously even Joel Hurt is probably the best player in this series. I think Tyrese Maxey is the second best player in this series. I personally think not only did he win, was he a first time All-Star, was Tyrese Maxey also most improved player. I think he's better. I think he's a better basketball player, a more dynamic basketball player than Brunson.
All right, so here's the correlation though. So you know about cross country, right?
I went to Overbrook. How could I not know?
Yeah, but you know the rules, right? You know how like when you do a cross country race, you combine the scores of I believe it's what the top 5 or the top 7 runners,
Right.
one of them, right? So the deal is yeah, they got number 1 and 2, but then do the Knicks have number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7?
Right now,
So that's the problem. Like, yeah, you got these two. See, and the reason why I asked you that, Mitch, is you look at it. The 76ers, yeah, they got Joel, they got Maxey. Joel's banged up, but 3 of the 76ers 9 worst losses came to the Knicks this season. So the first 2 worst losses were to the Knicks. Now, the worst loss of the season that came on January 5th, 2004, when they lost to the Knicks by 36 points.
Yeah.
Right? Their second worst of the season was when they went to the Garden on March the 12th and lost to the Knicks by 27 points. And then their 9th worst loss was a 14-point setback to the Knicks in Philly now.
Yeah.
On February the 22nd. So 2 of their worst losses. Now here's the deal. Now, a lot of their worst losses came at home. That's crazy. Of their 9 worst losses, 6 of them came at worst losses. 6 of them came at home. Right? That's crazy.
Yeah. So Wells Fargo Center is not exactly the home court advantage.
Nah, bro. They out there getting destroyed at the crib. But anyway, so when you look at that, I'm just saying, like, wow. I mean, now again, the February 22nd game, Joel didn't play. That was at home. The March the 12th game, Joel didn't play. But Joel was there on that January the 5th game, and they got boat raced. Now, here's the thing about the Knicks. In series that the Knicks have won the first 2 games, they have won their last 8 series when they won the first 2 games. They are 16-2 in those series, right? As far as winning. So Sixers got their hands cut out for them a little bit. Now, again, do I think they could come back and win? Yeah, I do. Do I think that heck, they could have easily been up 2-0, right? As you pointed out, it's the rebounding. But I think that this is something we gotta pay attention to, because this is the one team. Everybody keeps saying the Sixers are better. This team appears to want it more. and they got the Sixers number, man. Of any other team, they got their number.
Yeah,
Them and
and
the Boston Celtics.
it's hard to push back on your point about wanting it more, particularly after we watched them. The 76ers blow that 5-point lead in the final 27.4 seconds. That's just not supposed to happen, no matter what the referees did, no matter what the league is now saying about those sequences at the end of that game. You're not supposed to lose that game. You're not supposed to leave it up to referees. It's just not supposed to happen.
It was a bad look. It was a bad look because if you look at that thing, you see Kyle Lowry laying. He got whacked. He's laying on the ground,
Yeah,
holding his knee. You see Maxey on the floor at one point.
yeah,
But the thing that gets me is it's like, yeah, and what I mean by wanting it more, remember when Deuce McBride and Maxey had the ball and Dude just like, rah, get it out of here.
yeah,
He went like, you thought the ref was going to call a foul on that one, but he didn't. But
yeah.
then that kind of amped everybody up. And you're like, yo, these dudes is like playing what they used to call jailhouse ball. You know what I mean? We trying to come at you.
Yeah, it was like a scene from Rikers Island. But right now let's talk. Take a little intermission here and talk about DoorDash and your mama. Want to make
My
your mom?
mama.
Everybody's mom. Everybody's mama. You want to make your mom smile? Start Mother's Day with flowers or surprise her with gifts from the brand she loves, delivered the very same day with DoorDash. Moms are a gift, so give her the best this Mother's Day. Get gifts as thoughtful as she is with DoorDash. Select from hundreds of expertly crafted bouquets to the best of tech to self-care essentials and more delivered right to your door. Does your mom have a sweet tooth? Is she a tech enthusiast, a beauty connoisseur, or is she outdoorsy? No matter what she's into, you can make her smile with a fruit or flower bouquet, makeup, tech gear, workout gear, and more. So get your Mother's Day gifts all in one place. Get 50% off your next order up to $15 when you spend $15 or more on your next flower, convenience, grocery, or retail order now with code LOCKEDONNBA. That's Locked On NBA. Order using DoorDash today. Terms apply. We've all been there, either as a player or as a fan. It's halftime and the scoreboard is not looking good. You're feeling low, not sure how you or your team can pull out a win. That's when you dig deep, lift your head up, and say to yourself, time to get back in the game, pull off some bank heists, and take as much of my friends' money as I possibly can. That's right, the smash hit mobile game, Monopoly Go, lets you compete with your friends to get the most riches and the biggest empire. It's the Monopoly you love, but on your phone anytime with tons of new twists, including leaderboards to compare your progress to your buddies. There's so much to do. Play on countless dynamic Monopoly boards. Make your friends bankrupt by smashing their landmarks with a wrecking ball. Charge other players rent for your iconic properties. You can even work with your friends to crack open community chests and in tournaments to get extra rewards and climb the leaderboard. So get back out there, put on your game face, and download Monopoly Go. Now free on the App Store or Google Play. Do that today. Do that today. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Do you have to turn down the volume with all that shouting and screaming and hollering? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team In this case, the 76ers every day.
Every day. So the big question mark that I have is, will the real Buddy Hield stand up?
Please stand up. Please stand up.
Because Buddy got mad at me one day, and I don't know if I said this to you. He got mad because it was one of those days in the beginning, and I started seeing that's when the shooting started going left a little bit, right?
Yeah.
It was one of those days where he hit 2 threes, but he was missing bunnies,
Missing layups.
missing layups, missing layups. I mean, he was missing them. And so I asked him, I said, Buddy, look, you've been in this league for a while. You're a shooter. Sometimes you guys go through stuff. How do you get yourself back on track?
That's a simple enough question.
Simple question. And he took offense. What do you mean? What do you mean? I said, he said, I made 2 or 3 threes. I said, yeah, but you went 1 for 9 on layups. You missed layups. And then he was like, huh. So the thing is, when that happened, I was like, okay, this must be getting to the guy a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And this and that and da. And lo and behold, after that point, the Buddy Hield that we saw those first 2 games was shot, was gone.
Oh.
And I'm not saying that the conversation had anything to do with it, but what I'm saying is you could see that the way that he was missing these shots, that it wasn't really working out. Like stuff was about to go left.
Yeah.
You go there, and sometimes you see guys working out, and you see this, and there's some days where Buddy looks like most NBA players who, like, I'm telling you, when you put these guys, NBA dudes, and Mitch,
Yeah.
you do their workouts,
Bang, bang, bang.
bang, bang. You like, yo, if they miss like 10%, you like, yo, what's wrong with them today?
Yeah.
On this day, Buddy just wasn't hitting a lot of shots, and I was like, oh, what's going on? So, like, what you do is sometimes you don't want to embarrass the guy, so you don't post the video. You know what I'm saying? You don't want people like, yo, this and that. So right now, I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking, Daryl Morey said, you're going to put the fear of God in people. He said that, put the fear of God in people. And now sometimes Buddy looks fearful.
Yeah.
Shooting the ball. So my question is, will the real Buddy Hield stand up?
Yeah.
Because, like, it looked like Fright Night. Like, it looks like stage fright or whatever it is, right? So, I mean, you think, because if this guy can hit some shots, it can open things up. Now, we can look at it like Buddy isn't really a good scheme. It's called coming off of dribble handoffs. He's more of a catch and shooter.
Yeah.
But when you catch and shooter in this offense, it's like Tyrese got to get his. Mm-hmm. Joel got to get his. Tobias wants to get his. Kelly Oubre wants to get his. And then Buddy's just waiting. So my thing is, will the real Buddy Hield stand up, or is this the real Buddy Hield?
Yeah. I was thinking, kind of, if Joel can get some deep posts and draw that double team when a guard comes down, tries to swipe at the ball, if Buddy's on the right side, strong side, then he's got a good look. So there's some things that they all can do. But yeah, the Buddy Hield we're watching right now, he's got 2 points in this series. He's averaging 1 point per game. And when he first came here, you and I were both excited about him, man. He got in those first half dozen games or something, was averaging about 18 and 19 points, shooting a nice clip of 43% from the 3-point shot, the 3-point arc, and he was attempting shots. He was averaging about 9. I think it was for the first half dozen games, he averaged 9 3-pointers per game. And, we kind of wondered, hey, when's he going to take some bad shots near the rim? But, over the final 24 games of the regular season, he just averaged 10 points per game and was shooting a very pedestrian 40% from the field. He's playing for money. He's not just playing for the 76 to win, but he's playing for his next contract. And I it's not a good look for him to be gun shy. And not just missing the shots that he's missing, not just during the playoffs, but even as the season wound down, the 3-pointers he was missing were like bricks, So I believe that, and he was a guy, I don't want to have to eat my words on this, but he was a guy who I said, this is the playoffs are going to bode well for him. Here's a guy who, when he gets that look, I mean, he's not a guy very good, great off the dribble. He's not the best athlete in the world, but he is a guy who, when he can get that look, that spot up look, he's effective. And that just hasn't been the case for him, man. I don't know if he's gun shy, but it's time for him. It's time for Buddy Hield to get into the game for real, for real.
Now, I don't know what it is. I don't know if like certain guys, like a lot of guys may say they want to play with Joel Embiid.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of dudes may want to say, like, I really want to play with a dominant big.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if a lot of guys are used to playing with a dominant big.
Good point.
Like, you know what I mean? Like the one guy who made the proper adjustment and played well and always knew where to be at was like Marcus Morris, like as far as sliding and all that. And I don't want to keep bringing that up because people get mad. Like, why you keep bringing that up?
I bet they wish you were on a roster. Right?
Yeah, I bet you they wish too. So the thing is, but I notice it's such different because when you play off, like it's different. Like typically you play off of Maxey. Right. So you're gonna get it, but now you got to play off of Embiid, and Maxey plays off of him, and then and it's different, man. Like you look at so many guys who came here who was supposed to help the Sixers out, and then they struggle a little bit to adjust. I mean, we're talking about Al Horford, we're talking about a lot of guys. It's just tough, right? I mean, even as good as Jimmy Butler was in the playoffs, there was times in that regular season where he had 1 point. Yeah. 1 point. So, he
had to assert himself as the alpha on that team.
He had to. What he had to do is he had to say, forget about scoring. I got to be the point guard. And then that's the whole Ben Simmons moved off the ball and all that. And then next thing you know, you took Tobias Harris over me, like in that, which wasn't true, but it was really Ben. But anyway, that's another story for a different day. But it's just been a lot of craziness going on. But I know you got to get back into these live reads and all that. But
no, I hear you.
Buddy needs to stand up.
You got to stand up. It's time.
It's time. It's been past time because now it's about money. Now it's about
his money.
Yeah, my bread. My bread.
So, hey, but listen, it's playoff time in the NBA and NHL. Baseball's in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets, guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOnNBA and make your first bet an automatic win. It's FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. You know what? Sometimes we all need the opportunity to get something off our chest. Big or small, certain things can really start to get to you. It's important to let that out, especially to someone who's unbiased on your life. So today, I want to say how I feel about something. You might even be thinking about the same thing this week. Hey man, I'm hopeful that the 76ers can pull out a victory here. I'm hoping the 76ers can, get this series 2-2 by Sunday. But let's be quite honest. Most people have bigger concerns than what happens in this Knicks game, this Knicks series, although it's important. And, therapy is something that you might want to consider, that you should consider. Therapy can be different for everyone, So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be flexible and suited to your schedule. So visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. Do it today.
You better definitely do it today, people.
Especially if your Sixers cause you some serious headaches and heartaches.
Yeah, I think
we all got bigger issues than them.
You think the Sixers but you think the Sixers going to be good, right?
I think the Sixers going to even it up, man. I'm not impressed by that team up in New York, man. Listen, I've seen, no, I'm not impressed by the Knicks at all. I think the Sixers have, all things considered, they gave away game two. That's their fault. But I think they got a bunch of ham and eggers, man. Like anything coming out of New York. Anything to come out of New York. I mean, let's be quite honest. Their best players right now are guys with Philly connections, man. It's just like comparing the history of New York basketball to the history of Philadelphia basketball. Our history is way better than theirs. All this 4th Street playground or whatever that little rinky-dink playground is they got up there.
You hating.
Look at the greats who played at Tustin, man. Here's one. Even Kobe Bryant, Philadelphia might be better than their best import here, Dr. J. I know most people when they had that conversation, people who know what they're watching, they say Kobe or Dr. J. Most people say Kobe, and I love Dr. J. But I'm just being, hey, man, that's the good thing about the two of us. We are unbiased. We have journalism and reporting experience, so we don't play the role of fanboy. But I don't want to.
But the thing is, they claim Doc, but like normally they like, yo, the best players come from Brooklyn, come from Harlem, come from the Bronx, whatever, Queens. Doc from Long Island.
Doc is from where their best hip hop group is from, Public Enemy, L.I.
Yeah, ain't that crazy though when you think of that? But it's funny because when you go to like New York, like I remember the first time I went to New York, and like we went somewhere. It was like a job fair, and we flew in from Pitt. Not the first time I went to New York, but the first time I went to Long Island. So we flew in to the airport, me and my man from Pittsburgh, and we was driving. I'm like, yo. When we gonna get to Long Island, dog? And he was like, yo, man, we got another like 20 minutes. I said, dude, we've been in the car forever. And he was like, yeah, but I'm like, yo, hold up, man. Why we just didn't get a hotel like down here? Why we gotta stay with your people? Like, dude, it was far. I was like,
yeah.
So then and they was always like strong. We was at Pitt. My man was like, Strong Island.
Where I got them wilding.
We was in Connecticut. We was actually further. Like, yo, I was like, man, dude. I'm like, dude. Dude, we could have stayed in Philly. Like, we could have stayed in South Jersey as long as we driving to get here. Like, yo, it was far though.
Yeah.
But I digress. I don't want to do that. But look, here's the deal, people. So here's the reason. Part of the reason why people think the Sixers have a chance is because of this young man right now, Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
Tyrese Maxey, some people say the flu game, some people say whatever. Like, to me, when I talk to him, he just, I say, yo, you playing? Yeah, I'm playing. Now, he had like a little, how should I say it? You could tell he had a cold, but like a little cough in his voice. Like when he was talking, it wasn't this way. But as y'all know, in the post-game interview, the brother sound like whatever he had, he done sweated it out in the right? So he missed the shoot around. I was asking people beforehand, yo, is he going to play? Come on, man. What you think? Come on, Keith. You've been in the league. You've been covering the league for a while. There's no way that Maxey is going to miss this game, right? So he goes out there. He's balling. He does whatever. Now, the thing is, I think that they have a chance in this series because of him, right? Because of him. And the thing is, the brother got to give him mad props. Yeah. Last night, he was named the most improved player of the NBA. No surprise to anyone else.
None.
You just think Kobe White. You look at him, backup point guard. Then he comes in and he does stuff, right? So you think that maybe he will get it. You think that the center from the Houston Rockets, who like basically was a no-name guy, to all of a sudden was out there giving people the business. He had a big jump.
He made a big jump.
But you look at Maxey now, and Maxey was out there just getting. He had 3 games of 50 plus. He had career highs in points, assists, rebounds, steals, minutes played. The guy was just out there, and this was a phenomenal award for him. It's nobody's surprise. No. It would have been a shock if he didn't get it. But mad respect for him. And now here's the thing. He joins Dana Barros in 1995 as the only 76ers to win this award.
Dana balled that year. Dana balled that
He?
year.
He was
Yeah,
killing.
he balled that year.
He was
Yeah, but
killing.
I mean, shout out to Tyrese, man. He balled this well. He was challenged. He was challenged by the fan base to take an eraser to the memory of James Harden, and he did just that. And you have now a 23-year-old burgeoning superstar who, and I mean, he's likable. You know, you see his family at games. I mean, this guy's wholesome. He's energetic. His eyes are lit up all the time, and he's he's approachable. Yeah, I shout out to him. But he won that award with his game. He stepped up hardcore.
Yeah. I mean, he stepped up hardcore, and the thing is, I'll give him props because I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't know if he could. He still has some growth to go.
Oh,
in
yeah.
regards to a point guard. In regards to a point guard, but I didn't know that he would be as successful as a point guard as he was. Now, again, he isn't the traditional type.
Right.
They take the ball out of his hands at times, but he had to fill in for the shoes of James Harden.
Yeah.
Just like he had to come out there a couple of years ago and fill in for Ben Simmons, right? And the steps that this guy keeps taking year after year is amazing. I mean, he is an inspiration for me in regards to my daughter. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, my daughter's that age where she's doing sports. And, he's a person that you can look at and say, look, Tyrese Maxey wants it. He's a guy that puts in that work. Because a lot of times people will tell you like, oh, no, don't do this, don't do that. But then you look at a guy like Tyrese Maxey, don't get me wrong now. You do have to have a life. So you have a balance, right?
Right.
But what he does is he has a balance, but he's committed to his craft.
Yeah.
Just like Kobe was committed to his craft. People forget that. Just like MJ was committed to their craft. Because when we talk about Kobe tells the story about how he didn't even play on his first basketball team. He was the scrub. Michael Jordan got cut as a freshman, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you look at this, Tyrese Maxey came to the Sixers as the third string guard.
Yeah.
Third string. But what they do is what happens? They put in that work, they work hard, they do whatever, and they get to where they want to be at.
Mm-hmm.
So mad props to him. He's gonna pretty soon, and not pretty soon, but there's going to come a time where Joel Embiid is going to hand the baton to him and say, you're the face of the franchise. Just like how the 76ers laid one of those sculptures of Tyrese Maxey. Of Allen Iverson. It's going to be Joel Embiid. And then years later, it's going to be Maxey.
Yeah.
That number 0, if he keeps ascending and if he does stuff, who knows? That number 0 may be in the rafters. Now, I know I'm putting the cart ahead of the horse a little bit, but I'm just telling you, but his progression, I think that this guy is something special. He's a leader, and he's going to be someone that everybody enjoys. Now, I ear beat y'all enough. John was killing the people in New York, right? Stuff like that. But we want to thank y'all for listening. We hope that you guys have a blessed day, and just tell you to come here every day. This is where you come to get your Sixers news. We have a lot of fun. We joke around, but we keep it 100. That's the one thing. Yep. John calls me the Sixer hater, but I just be putting the facts down. So thank y'all for listening, and have a blessed day.
Peace, y'all.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On